All right, welcome to Frank Teaches DevOps. Yep. Good day, my lovely viewers. My lovely viewers. All right. In today's video, I I shall be explaining, all right, Argo CD operations using Argo CD CLI. All right. So Argo CD has really created a boost in the GitOps space in DevOps that's created a huge boost in the industry, and is somehow is one tool that you could use for um, continuous delivery. All right, continuous delivery. And if I could still recall, I did a video sometime on deploying applications, all right, to your Kubernetes cluster using Argo CD. And at the end of the at the end of that video, I did promise I did promise to to set up the addition of um, extra EKS cluster to your Argo CD using Argo CD CLI, because by default Argo CD gets installed in onto your primary Kubernetes cluster as a pod, all right? And that cluster to Argo CD is seen as an in cluster, okay? And assuming you want to integrate more than one cluster other than the default in cluster, you can't do it from the Argo CD GUI, right? As a matter of fact, the Argo CD GUI is just empty. There's nothing there. Argo CD GUI, there's nothing there. So Argo CD CLI is the bedrock. It is the rock for Argo CD. So everything is done through the CLI. And the addition of the clusters is also done through CLI. So there are a lot of things we shall do using the Argo CD CLI. All right. So this video is solely for that purpose. Argo CD operations using Argo CD CLI. It's just ABC. ABC. So these are the tasks I'm going to accomplish in this video. Add additional EKS clusters to the Argo CD. All right. Create additional users. I'll also show us how to create users, because by default we have a default user called admin user. All right. However, in a situation where you need to share your Argo CD environment, all right, to the dev team or some other team members, you need to create an account for them. And how do you do that? You do it from the CLI. You can create projects, you can create app, and many more tasks you can create. So deliverables. Here's my deliverables. Um, I'm going to be working with the Argo CD projects on this GitHub repository, Argo Proj. Then we're going to be working with three clusters. All right. So if you see from my architecture, I have my EKS cluster, I have my QA cluster, and I have my production cluster. So I have three clusters. All right. So naturally, by default, I'm going to be deploying my Argo CD on my EK cluster. So the EK cluster is going to be my in cluster. All right, my in cluster. Then I'm going to add these other clusters, all right, to Argo CD, so that Argo CD can manage applications on that clusters. All right, so Argo CD can manage applications deployments to those clusters. All right, all right. So yeah, So now, um, let's see, I have three clusters: EKS cluster, production cluster, and QA cluster. So on this EKS cluster, I've had worker nodes. So my worker nodes are ready. Great, my worker nodes are ready. Okay, so let me go back to the cluster level. So from our diagram, you can see create your EKS clusters, which I've created. Then the next phase is deploy the Argo CD as a pod in the parent EKS cluster. So in this EKS cluster, I will be deploying Argo CD. So let's just quickly get that done. Okay, so we shall go to the GitHub dots, the Argo project on GitHub. So let's hop onto there, the Argo project. So I will say GitHub slash Argo project. Then I'll scroll down. I would see Argo CD. So click on Argo CD. Then the next thing you do, you go to your far right. You look at the release number. You click on the release version. The release version at present is 2.5.1. All right. So here is the latest. So click on the latest release. And yeah, Argo CD comes in two variants. You have non-high availability and high availability. And for the purpose of these what's it called? This video, I will be going with the high availability. But before then, I need to set up my Kubernetes. All right. So far it has not been set up. So I need to copy my kubeconfig AWS update kubeconfig. So I need to copy my guy. Where's my guy? I need to do that quickly. So come over here. My cluster is EKS cluster. All right. Then my region dash region is EU West 1. All right. So this will not run until, let me just run it. Sorry, apologies. Until I authenticate to my tenant. So authenticating, copy, copy that, paste it. That's great. So I do AWS STS get caller identity. Bam. What did I do? Sorry. All right. So let's copy that again. So AWS STS gets caller identity. Bam. Okay, after running that, we could see that I could now authenticate. Okay, so after this phase, I can now run this command where you download my kubeconfig file. Where is my kubeconfig file? Okay, so no wahala. So here's my kubeconfig file. Mm, EKS cluster, and my region is dash region EU West 1. Okay, so this has been added. All right, it has been added. So if I check my kubeconfig file, I have the content. All right, I have the context. Okay, great. So now I can do kubectl node get node. I have these two nodes already running on the EKS cluster. So from my diagram, this is where I have, all right? So I have this EKS cluster. So now this cluster is ready. So I can now go ahead to set up Argo CD on this cluster. So for that, I'll go to my Argo CD project, okay? And copy this, create the Argo CD namespace, come over here, paste it, is being created. The next is to create the Argo CD component. All right, copy it, and paste it. You don't need to do anything, just enter. She's going to create all of the components from Argo CD. That's it. So let's monitor those components to see when they are ready. Okay, so let's see that briefly. So if I do kubectl get all in namespace Argo CD. Okay, I should see that everything is fine. Remaining these guys, the Argo CD server. Okay, okay. So let's check one more time. Recall the command, and bam, everything is now fine. Okay. However, let's check the services. Argo CD gets kubectl gets service in namespace. So I have the main server, which is the Argo CD server itself, is hosted as a cluster IP. Implies that I can't access this outside the cluster. So I may need to change this into a node port or a load balancer, right? So which pays me more is a node port. Okay, so this is what I will do. I'm going to edit that service. So kubectl edit service, then the service name. The service name is Argo CD server. Copy and paste in which namespace? In Argo CD namespace. So if I hit enter, so I'll go right to the bottom of this manifest. You see that my type is cluster IP, and I'll change it towards node port. So node port, escape and save and quit. Save. So if I do kubectl get service in Argo CD namespace, you should see that my server is now running on port 30100. All right, 30100. Okay, so how do we access this? So let's look for the host, all right, the node that these particular service is running on. So I'll do the same thing. I'll say o wide. All right, so let's check node ports. Let me use pod. Do I have the IP, the particular IP that should? All right, let me just hop onto my get node. Kubectl get node. Let's check. I need the global IP. So I'll hop onto my environment instances. I have two worker nodes. This is one of the worker nodes. So I'll copy this. All right. So copy that. I'll copy it side by side the port number, right? So this is what I'm going to have. So I'll go to my browser, paste it, column 30100. Let's see if everything goes fine. 30100 is not opening. Let's see. Okay, it's not on that port. It's not on that node. Let me check the second node. This other node. Copy this, paste it. 30100. Okay, none of the nodes. None of the nodes. Let's see what's happening. Okay, security group. So I need to enable security group. So go to your security group. I need to add the Frank SG security group, change security group, and I'm going to add additional security group to that guy. Add security group and save. So once it's saved, okay, let's see. So now it's coming up now. So this guy is coming up. All right. Click on advanced and go to proceed. That's fine. Go to proceed. So we should see the Argo CD um, GUI. We should be presented with the Argo CD GUI. So here is my Argo CD GUI running comfortably. Okay. So the default user is admin, but the password is encoded. So let's see how we can decode the password. So go back and let's say kubectl get service in namespace Argo CD. Okay, so my password, let's check for pod. I have the initial password somewhere. Where should that be? Oh, secret, sorry. Get secrets. So get secrets. Okay. So my initial password is here. So this is where my admin initial password. All right. So this is what I will do. Copy that, recall the command, kubectl get secret name. So this is my secret name in that namespace. All right. So I hit enter. I have that. So I'm going to expose this guy. Oh, in JSON. Let me see. Okay, so I'm just displaying the content of this secret object. All right, this secret object. So here is the password. So the password is this. All right, so the password is a base 64 encoded password. So I'll copy that password, copy it. So I'm going to decrypt that password. So I'll say echo this password, then pass it to what base 64, decode it. So after decoding, here is the password to that passphrase, to that encrypted stuff. So copy it, come over here and paste it. Paste that user is admin, password is that password. And voila, I am inside of my Argo CD environment. So without wasting much time, you can see that we've deployed, we've talked about item number one. Item number two, we've deployed the Argo CD as a pod in the parent EKS cluster. Currently, I'm still on the EKS cluster. Then now, we've tried accessing the Argo CD URL from the browser, which we've done. The next phase is what installing Argo CD CLI on the parent cluster. So let's go to see how we can install the Argo CD CLI. So still go back to your project. So this is the project. So on this page, scroll down, go down and look for Argo CD Linux AMD. My architecture is AMD. So I'm going to right click, all right, and copy link address. Copy link address, come to my terminal, and I will do something. And I will say wget download this file. So I've just downloaded the Argo CD file. So if you check it, I have whoa. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me do something. Remove it. Argo CD. Let's download one more time. Move it to just Argo CD. Just keep it simple. Argo CD. Okay. So it's now what's just Argo CD. All right. Now move this guy to slash user local bin. All right. Move your Argo CD. Sorry, Argo CD to here. Permission denied. Use sudo, then change the ch mode, make it executable slash user local bin argo cd. So it's now executable. That means I can run Argo CD from anywhere. So if I can say Argo CD, enter, I should have my CLI working. Perfect. So with my CLI, I can list my cluster, Argo CD cluster list. Okay. All right. So we need to log in. The same way we log in on the GUI, the same way we log in on the GUI, we also need to log in on the terminal. We also need to what log in on the terminal. Okay, so we have a command called Argo CD account. Account what? Account. Let's check. If you want to check for help, you can say -h. So let's check the syntax how to log in. So Argo CD, sorry, Argo CD login. Argo CD login. Argo CD login -h. All right, so let's see. So I go to the login, then the server URL, then the port. So my server runs on this. So copy everything as it is. Copy everything like this. Copy it. Copy. Come to your terminal and you say Argo CD login. Specify the server. The server is this, right? The server is server name with the port number. So it's going to ask for security. All right. Now, Argo CD by default uses self-signed certificate. However, that's why it's making this is complaining. But there's a way we can compress this information from being displayed. Let me say no. So to compress this information, you can say insecure. All right, insecure, insecure. Okay, so if I say insecure, it's going to compress that information. So the username is admin, then the password is I did the password somewhere, the long string something. Let me go back. I'll change the password, guys. It has to be changed. Password was somewhere. Can somebody this is CLI password? Yes, this is the password. So copy this guy. Copy is being copied. Then I'll paste it. Control V is being pasted. Enter. So it's going to tell me that admin login logged in successfully. So now I can now run Argo CD cluster list. So it start list the in cluster. So currently I have this current cluster called in cluster. All right, Settles cluster has no application. The same thing is if I come to the portal, if I go to settings, I go to cluster, we should see this in cluster, right? So this is the default cluster. So in our diagram, this is what we have. All right, this is what we have. So what I want to do now, first I want to change the admin password, right? Because that password is too long. It's too long. So this is what I will do. I'll now say a Argo CD account dash help. So let's look for help. So I can update the password, right? Okay, great. So Argo CD update dash password. Okay, for the current user. So it's now telling me that enter password of currently login user. So the password I still have it in my clipboard. So Control V is there. Enter. Now give it a new password. CEC. Re-enter. CEC. So if everything goes fine, to tell me that password updated and context for this server also was updated. So I've successfully changed my password. So we've seen how to change the user's password. Then the next on the table is let's see how we can now add those clusters because that's so much. Let's see how we can add QA clusters and production cluster. All right. So but before we do that, we need to what? We need to also copy because currently what we have in our kubeconfig file, look at the context we have, sorry, in this kubeconfig file is just for the EKS cluster, right? So I also need to download the kubeconfig file, the cluster context for other clusters into this kubeconfig file. So how do I do that? So I'm going to use my same command. All right. So the same command, control arrow updates. Let me see. Control arrow. What should I look? Okay, control arrow. EKS. Okay, great. Well, this is what we have. So I'm going to download the next cluster, which is QA prod. Oh, sorry, QA cluster. So I'm downloading this cluster. So I'm downloading the kubeconfig context for QA cluster. All right, same region. All right, I will hit enter. So it has been added context. Okay, so if I check my kubeconfig on here, kubeconfig, I should see QA cluster has been added. We also have the EKS cluster. So I also need to add the last cluster, which is the prod cluster. Let's add the prod cluster. So prod cluster has been added. So if I check my cards, I will have prod cluster, QA cluster, and my EKS cluster. So I now have these three clusters in my kubeconfig file. All right. So the next thing I need to do now, I need to run the Argo CD CLI command to add those clusters. So let's see those commands. So quickly, I'll go onto here and check for Argo CD cluster list. What we have currently is just only one cluster, right? Great. So now let's look for dash help. Let's do dash on cluster. I can see add, use the add command. So let's look for the add. So I'll say add dash help. So what next? It will be the context. All right. It will be what? The context. So the context, I have to copy the context for the QA cluster. So let's look for that context for the QA cluster config. So the context for QA cluster is this. Let's go up. Okay, this is the context. This is for prod cluster. Let me add prod cluster. So copy all of these, the and name, copy it, then recall your command, um, Argo CD cluster add, then the context. That's the context. If I hit enter, it's going to make some warning. Do you want to continue? I say yes. So if I say yes, it's going to tell me that blah blah blah. This has been what added. So if I now say Argo CD cluster list, you can see that I now have two clusters. One is the production cluster and the other is the in cluster. So I will do the same thing for the third cluster. All right. From our diagram, I've added the production cluster, so I need to add the QA cluster. So let's go back quickly. We don't have time. So let's go and pick the context from our kubeconfig for QA. So this is for QA. So copy this context as it is, copy it. Now recall that command. This is the command add and hit enter. I will say yes, and voila, it has been what added. So if I say Argo CD cluster list, I should have these three cluster. One being the production cluster, the other being the QA cluster, and the original cluster. So this is how you add your clusters to Argo CD so that Argo CD could manage the deployment of applications onto these clusters. So let's quickly check on the Argo CD GUI. So if I refresh this, you should see that we now have, okay, because the password has changed. Password has changed for admin. So admin CCLIADUM at 123. So I can log in now. So you can see I have these three clusters. So this is how you add your cluster to Argo CD, your EKS clusters to Argo CD. So the next on our agenda, okay, we've done all of these now. We've added what? Blah 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 blah. Okay, create additional users. I want to create additional users, right? So let's see how we can create additional users. So on Argo CD, there is a file called there's a um config map file, right, that controls the user. So let's kubectl get config map in namespace Argo CD. Okay, or get whoa kubectl get node. Okay, I need to re-authenticate. uh AWS STS. My session has expired. Get caller identity. I'm still there now. Whoa. My my current context is my production cluster. So I need to change this thing. I need to change it. So context has changed. All right. I think this was when context changed. My context changed somewhere here. Yes, this was when the context change. So I need to update this guy. Who cares? But you shouldn't have done that now because everything is there. No, this should do. Let me just update this. Updated. kubectl get node. Shouldn't have done that. Okay, context change. So you have to update. All right, context just changed. All right, so I have this guy. So kubectl gets config map in namespace argo cd. So I have this config map. This is the config map we need to edit for the users. All right, so copy that kubectl get config map. This config map name. So I need to o wide YAML. All right, yeah, YAML. Okay, YAML. So if I hit this, it's going to show me the content. Now I need to redirect this into a file so that I can edit it. So let me redirect the content into a file. Let me call that file. Let me call it same name, ArgoCDCM.YAML. Okay, now I need to go into that file and edit the content of that file, ArgoCD.YAML. Now at the bottom of this file, this is what I will do. I will say data. Now I'll specify accounts. I'll say accounts account dot the account name. All right, account dot the account name. I'm adding a user called Frank column. Now I need to give this user API key access and also a login access. So this user will be able to create API tokens, all right, as well as this user will be able to what to log in. So this is what you need to do, all right? So escape and save and quit. So once it's there, now you use your kubectl apply minus f, you apply that file. Let's see if everything goes well, you have configured. All right. Now, if we check the users that have been added, so you can say Argo CD, Argo CD is user. Let me check Argo CD help. Let's check the command account. Sorry, Argo CD, Argo CD account list. So let's list the number of use. Okay, we don't have it at present. It's not coming. It's not coming. It's supposed to come. One sec. All right. So it's like Argo CD account list. So the user is not coming. So it's like we made a mistake in the YAML file. So this has to be accounts with S and not just accounts. All right. Escape, save, and quit. So we run the Argo apply, kubectl apply, reapply, reapply. Whoa, 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 whoa. So let's remove that file and redo it. Okay. Okay. Let me delete that. uh kubectl gets this guy in namespace argo cd. Okay, so let's remove it. um delete delete config map. We have it already. All right, so delete this config map. Sorry, delete config map, this config map. All right, so it's deleted, so let's recreate it. All right, apply that guy. So it's been created. All right. So now let's now say Argo CD what account what list. So we should have those two accounts. Can you now see now? We have Frank as the one account. I will now have admin as the original account. So this Frank user can log in. However, this Frank user does not have a password yet. So let's see how we can set a password for Frank so that Frank can log in. So I may now say, okay, um, Argo CD account dash help. All right. So dash help. Let's see update password. All right. So dash dash update password. Let's check for help. Um, wait, let's see. Sorry, there's no dash dash. Sorry, there's no dash dash. So just update password. Update password. This for admin. Sorry. Help. Let's see what follows. So let's see what follows. What follows is account. All right. So specify dash dash account. The account is what for Frank. The account is for Frank, right? So hit enter. So you know, is going to say what? Enter password for the currently login user. So currently login user is admin. So I'll enter the password. I. Oh shit, sorry. Now enter new password for user what? Frank. So my password, that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it will tell me that password updated. So now let's log out. The same way we log in, we also need to log out. So control arrow, log login. So this was the way we log in. So we need to log out from the terminal. All right, we need to log out the admin user. So log out from this guy. Okay, so now we need to log in as who? As Frank. Let's log in as Frank now. So if I log in as Frank, username is Frank, password CCILIADUM at 1, 2, 3. So to tell me that login was successful. Okay, login was successful. So Frank does not have a lot, doesn't have anything, right? So let's see if Frank can view the cluster list. Frank does not have any permission to see those clusters that has been added in this Argo CD environment. We can grant Frank access to the cluster. Okay, so the only way we can grant Frank access. So there is do we have time? All right, let's see whiteboard. So arrow back can set up arrow back for the Frank user. So let's say you can create projects before we go that create project and create app. So as Frank is now, Frank cannot create project. So let's see if Frank can create project. Argo CD, Argo CD proj, proj what? Create, right? Sorry, Argo CD create project. The project name Frank proj. Now I say now, wait. Argo CD, Argo CD up, Argo CD, Argo CD Proj, Argo CD Proj create, project create, Argo CD project create, then the project name, create what? Frank Proj. All right. So you're saying that permission denied. You don't have right to create projects. Now let's log out. Let's log out for Frank, and let's log out for Frank. Let's log out Frank. Frank has been logged out. So let's log in back to admin and show us how to create login admin CCIDUM at 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now admin is logged in. So admin can do cluster list because he has the permission. Okay, now so far, if we go to our GUI, go to user info, um, this is admin is logged in. Sorry, settings. Go to settings, go to project. We only have a default project, right? So now let's see how we can create a project from the terminal. So Argo CD proj create, then the proj name admin. You can call it um, dev DevOps, DevOps. All right. So DevOps. Small letter, small letter, DevOps. All right. So it's case sensitive. So DevOps has been created. So if I come here, I can still say here project list. Argo CD project list. Can list the project we have. Um, list project or whatever. Oh, proj is wrong. Proj. All right. So we have the default project and we have the DevOps we just created. So if I refresh this page now, I should see both projects, default and the DevOps. Okay. So now let's go back to our dashboard because of time. You can create app. All right. And many more things you can want to do. So to create app, creating app. Let's see quickly. Okay, I have this small app I want to deploy, all right, to my cluster. So kubectl get nodes, okay, to this cluster. So it's just a small app. kubectl get pod, right? So nothing. So let's open this deployment file. So this what it's doing is creating a namespace called nginx. It's a deployment, name of deployment, nginx deploy, namespace, this. I just want to keep it simple. All right. The image is nginx latest. So the service is that. All right. So let's see how we can use Argo CD CLI to deploy this application. All right, go back to here. So let's see the command we need. So Argo help. Let's see our help app. All right. So Argo CD app list. So currently we don't have any app, right? So now let's check help web page. Argo CD app create. Okay. Let's say app create dash help. Let's see the format. So Argo CD, these are the different formats. So Argo CD app creates the app name, the repository, which is from GitHub. This is the repository from GitHub. Then the path, if the path to the file has folder, if there's a folder, all right, to check that folder. Then the destination cluster is default cluster, which is um, a destination namespace. Okay, so we have namespace, we have a default namespace. We can create other namespaces. I think we can create namespace. Let me check. Let me check what we have here. Settings, namespace, cluster, um, cluster applications, nothing. Namespace. All right, we shall let because of time. We shall see how to create namespace. Okay, so where's the my app? Okay, we were here. All right. Okay. So let's copy this command and see what we can do with this guy. So copy this. Copy this. I've copied. Right. Let me paste it. Now the destination server. Before the destination server, let's check um Argo CD cluster list. All right. So my cluster is this in cluster. So my in cluster is let me expand this. All right, so that everything will get on the screen. Sorry, apologies for making this thing too small. It's getting too small. So the server, so I'm deploying to this cluster, which is the in cluster. All right. So copy that guy. All right. Copy it. Let me paste it one more time. Let's go there. So the cluster is default cluster. Okay, it's even there. Okay, Kubernetes.default.svs. All right, that's the destination server. Then namespace is default. Then the name of I can remove this. This is optional. I don't have the path. Okay. Then okay my GitHub URL. My GitHub URL. I'll replace this with my GitHub URL. So my GitHub URL is come here, copy HTTPS, bring it back here and paste it. So that's the GitHub URL. Then the app name is Nginx demo. Can give it Nginx demo. All right. So if we hit enter, let's see if everything goes well. Argument error, invalid spec. Repo HTTPS. Okay, we had that error. So let me bring, let me recall, please. Okay, we had some error. So this was the original error. We had this error, but we didn't specify the path. So we are supposed to specify the path, right? So the path is compulsory. So this is where the path. So the path is going to be the current directly. So dash dash path. I'll specify because my YAML file is in the root of my GitHub repository. It's in this root. So I'll specify, I'll use dot to specify the root. Okay. So there it is. So if I hit enter, this should now tell me that application nginx demo created. So if I now say Argo CD app list, I should see my application. However, this application is what out of sync. So if I go on the portal, I can see now. Can you see now? This application is here. It has been created and it's out of sync. So let's sync it from the terminal. So come back to your terminal and let's do something. Let's say Argo CD app. Let's check for help. Let's check for help. There should be something like sync. Yeah, we can sync the app. So Argo CD app sync. Then the app name. Let me check for help one more time. So it has to be the app name. Argo sync. Then the app, right? Argo CD app sync the app name. So my app name is Nginx demo. Okay. So if I hit enter, it should tell me that it has been synced. All right. So it has been synced. Everything is synced. So if I come here, everything is now progressing. Syncing is now progressing. It's now healthy. The application is healthy. So this is how you deploy application. All right. You do a lot from Argo CD CLI. Okay. And what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? So that's it. That's it. That's it, guys. That's it. Okay. So let's see if we can access this application on the browser. So if I can say kubectl get um, get all in my namespace nginx. So in Nginx, I have this application pod is running as a deployment, as a node pod is running cluster IP on 32448. Okay, let's see how we can access this Nginx application. So let me copy this 32448. Copy this node, copy this node, copy it 32448, paste 32448. So hit enter. So Vowler. So this is our application. So far, so good. We've been able to implement continuous delivery, aka as well as you can also call it continuous deployment. So with this, we've been able to actualize continuous delivery using Argo CD, and you see the whole pack. It's a full package. It's a total package. And yeah, let's just run back to our dashboard. So we added cluster, all right, to the Argo CD. We added this cluster, QA cluster and port cluster to Argo CD that Argo CD can manage. We also created additional user. Because of time, I would have also given that user some back permissions because that user cannot do anything, can only log in. All right. We created projects, we created an Nginx app, then you can do a lot more. All right. So guys, with this, we bring this session to a close. And I want to thank my lovely viewers for the support. Please share, comments, leave your comments, and say good words. All right, say good words. Thank you, and see you in my next video. Thank you. It was lovely, guys. It was lovely seeing the app is running. Everything. This is full package of continuous delivery. Thank you, and have a nice day.